We're live. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you think. Try to mix it up this week. Try to give you a little something different. I worked hard on that beat. I always had that one little hair. Just I always want to stick out. And I never can get it. I always be like, where is that? Yeah, where is that? I don't know. It'll be okay. Tara, what's going on with you? We ain't seen you in a minute. How you doing? How you feeling? All right. How you doing? How you feeling? Silver Spring, Maryland. We see you out there. Aminata. I may be slaughtering your name. I apologize. All right. Tell us what you think about the intro. You can drop in the comments below. Let us know what your thoughts are. Also, let us know how you like it, didn't like it, whatever. That's good. It's good that you're learning. I hope you're learning and growing at the same time. Um, this week is gonna be a good informative week. It may seem like it's all over the place, but it's not. It's some stuff I did get a chance to cover last week. So I think this week I'm gonna work backwards. I was gonna save this to the end, but I don't think I'm gonna save this to the end. I think I'm gonna start off with this, and then we'll work through the topics, and go from there. Let me see. Yeah, let's start here. Like, you know what? I may have to open this up in the other browser. Let me go ahead and do that because you all can't hear for whatever reason out of that browser, and it's always acting wonky. Tip know why, but that's okay. That's okay. All right. So let's see how many we got on. All right, we got an audience. All right. So this first video we're gonna get into is um probably gonna be a touchy subject for some. Based on the numbers, just what I see from the audience that come here. But I want you to keep in mind there's a reason why I'm opening up with this. I want you to start questioning. I want you to start asking questions as you look at this, and also ask questions for yourself about where you at, and even where your parents are at as well too. As we get into this video, so let's me make this a little bigger, and then we're gonna get into this video. Make sure my sound is up over here, and we're gonna get into it. Oh, and in the comment section, let me know if you want to have a petty tea time today. Let me know. Got some articles that I think are quite interesting, but you all let me know. I'm good. I'm taking your guidance on that. What's going on, Queen Lee? How you doing? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good day. Happy Saturday. All of that. All right. Let me know. All right, so let me see. I may need to add myself to the stream. And let's hit enter because it's going to immediately start. We're going to turn up the sound. Here we go.
When you become homeless, you kind of revert into this solitude. It's humiliating. I find especially the women, we don't say anything to anyone about it.
Right, so you see what here it says, what happens when you lose your home at 72 in Amesbury, Massachusetts? She's 72 and she's homeless, and she was married, right? And she had kids. And you'll find that out throughout the video. So we're gonna review, we're gonna talk this through. We're gonna talk about some preventative measures that you can have as a man, as a woman. You should know some of these things already. But you're gonna look at this video, and then we're gonna talk about some things. We're gonna talk about some income streams today. We're gonna talk about how to make Again, turning your skill sets into income producing assets. We're going to talk about how you yourself can also be on the right side of tech and not the left side of tech. And over here, I know people are worried about layoffs, but I'm not worried about those layoffs. We see time and time again. I don't know if you've been paying attention, but data centers aren't going anywhere, and infrastructure and the ability to build the cloud isn't going anywhere. Right? So let's get back into the video. And as you look at this video, think about your parents, think about your siblings, think about people that are your neighbors, think about people that you know or around you that could be in this position. And what are the things that you yourself can do to help prevent that? That's why, the model, there's a saying that says, if don't nobody else get rich, you should. And the reason for that is because it's got to be somebody rich in the family so that y'all can build up, right? So you can at least not necessarily save someone, but again, that video we saw earlier this year with the one lady that said her grandmother always, or her, yeah, it was her mother, or it might have been her grandmother, that always said you need to have at least one house in the family where the people can go back to, right? You live in the family house. I don't care where you at in life, you always got a house to go to, right? And so a lot of times I've seen this question come up. A lot of people ask, should I buy a house or should I buy a condo? I don't care what you do in life, on any in any country. I don't care where you go. You need a place to stay. You need somewhere to heat and cook food, and you also need and you're gonna and a way to heat and cook food. I don't care if it's a George Foreman grill. I don't care if you get a blender and you just make soup in a blender, and you buy fresh vegetables and you eat soup in a blender, and you work out around the house, whatever that is, or you work out outside, whatever that is, you're gonna need some way, some form of place to live, of shelter, I should say, right? So let's get back into the video.
My name is Judith, and I've been living in my car at 72 years old since the end of February. Good morning. I'd like a medium-sized black. Okay. I'm not always this sweet sounding either. It's a facade. It's the first thing I do when I get up and start my day. I go and get a cup of coffee. And then I head across the street to this cemetery and organize my car for the day. Now, St. Mary's Cemetery is a local place where a lot of homeless people come to. I've seen a woman my age who is currently living in the trees over here.
All right, we're gonna pause right there. She said the cemetery is a place where a lot of homeless people come to, and she's like, she know a woman her age that's living over in the trees. So now the question comes is, there's a lot of questions like, how did they get there? Like, will being in a cemetery, will you get kicked out? Is it safe? Like, there are so many questions. So, and I'm sure you're asking yourself how she got here. What can she afford? And you're going to see this theme throughout as inflation increases, the layoffs, the people don't have skill sets to sustain them. The automation, we saw the automation of McDonald's. We see Chat GPT. You see that you see the worry on software developers' faces now. We also see the worry on people faces in general when it comes to automation. And the question is, what side of tech do you want to be on, and what side of life do you want to be on, right? Shout out to the $1 billion heir that just got added yesterday, and I think it was in Maine that that person won for the Mega Millions. I didn't get anything. Oh, D got a Powerball in the number. D got a Powerball in the number. She balling. All right, so let's get back to it. I just want y'all to be thinking about these things.
I'm a working visual artist. I have been my whole life.
All right, her husband died 20 years ago. She sold paintings and worked part-time jobs, but has struggled to make ends meet. So now the question is, what did Judith's husband do? Did he have any money? Was he sick when he was passing? Did they spend all the money on him while he was sick? She got evicted from a home. That means the home wasn't paid off. There's so many questions. He died 20 years before her. She's 72, so he died at 52. He died at 52. Was he still working? Did he have a pension? Did he have a retirement plan? Because as we go through this video, it says she's collecting Social Security and it's not enough. So she don't get his Social Security, his pension. You have questions. These are things that I would think as a woman or even as a spouse, man or woman, you would be asking these questions of your spouse, of your significant other, right? He died at 52. She's 72. It's been 20 years, right? So let's get back to it.
Once a woman is single and aging, she has no safety net, none. For the last 5, 6 years of my work life, even with my Social Security, I was not able to pay a rent with that combined income.
What were you doing?
I was working as a cashier at the Market Basket.
So from the signs of it, was like her husband was the breadwinner. She was, you know, doing paintings and working at the market, you know, cashier, going home, cooking meals. Again, this is the reality. This is why I tell every man, every woman, y'all need to have money in the bank. You don't know what can happen to the person that's the breadwinner or what have you, or your spouse who may be there to take care of the kids. You can find yourself a single father. You can find yourself a single mother or a mother, I should say, or a widowed father, whatever. But what I'm simply saying is this: regardless of whatever's going on outside with all this stuff, you all got to remember to protect and have money put aside. Life insurance, term. I don't care, term, whole life, whatever the case may be. If you're gonna work and you feel like you're not good at saving money and you're not gonna put away money in your 401k, you need to go work for somebody that has a pension, or you need to find a financial advisor that can help. This can set you up a budget. Some people need budgets and need to stick to that budgets, and you need check-ins. A lot of y'all need check-ins. I know I do. I know I do. I know I need check-ins, right? Outside of me, like having accountability, right? Everybody are not really good at money and being accountable for themselves, right? Afri said, I remember I was homeless 10 years ago during the winter in Alaska. As soon as summer came and I was able to get my feet, I promised to not be back to that situation again. Yeah, and all I'm trying to tell you all is this: like, y'all can fight whatever it is that you're fighting mentally, whatever it is in your home life or what have you. But all I'm simply saying is this: get a set of skills that's going to last you the next 10, 20, 30 years. Be accountable. If you can't be accountable for yourself, find somebody else to help you be accountable for yourself. I've given you the blueprint. I've told you security, Linux, cloud, understanding agile, and I know I'm leaving off a slew of other things. But again, I've giving you the principles over and over again, and these things are not going to change. You may add on and start learning about edge computing and supercomputing and high performance computing and quantum and so forth. But what do your skills now have? Do you have enough to sustain you to your ready to retire? And some people retire early. Some people retire at 40. She lost her husband at 50 when he was 52. Well, 20 years ago. Yeah. Yeah, he was 52. So how are you going to sustain yourself? What do you want retirement to look like for you? I know y'all get tired of me talking about it, but every time I look online and I look up stuff and I'm seeing reports come out and news articles, and I do digging, and then I go talk to financial planners, I go talk to financial advisors, I go sit down and have conversation with them and stuff like that. And I tell them what I talk about. They're like, keep talking about it. Keep talking about it. In fact, last Friday or last Saturday? Last Saturday. When I went out, came back, we did the stream. The women that were sitting there were wives working in tech. And they were like, what's your show about? Because I was like, I gotta go because I got my show. And they were like, what's your show about? And I told them, it's like, you make sure you tell them that they need to make sure they have some money for retirement. You make sure you tell them, and they were older. They were in there, they were in between 50 to 60, somewhere in there. Some might have been in their 40s. They might have right in there. Some of the younger girls were there. But they were like, make sure y'all have some money for retirement. Make sure you tell them to stack as much as they can. They need. I don't care how married they are. She was like, as a married wife, I got mine. I have, and then I sat there and thought about it, right? And I want you to think about this too, right? It's funny. Your wife works, the husband works. Y'all both work at different companies, or even working for the same company. But what I have never ever seen, and maybe it's out there and I don't know about it, but have you ever seen a 401k for married couples? I've never seen a 401k for married couples. I've seen a 401k for each individual person, but not for a married couple. And when you listen to any of these shows, there's never a joint 401k that we both jointly contribute to. There's a 401k for her and there's a 401k for him. And then maybe y'all have a joint bank account or something like that y'all contribute to, or some type of annuity that you both contribute to, or something of that nature. But I've never seen a joint 401k. So keep that in mind. Whereas everyone is saying like we can live off of one income. I'm saying great, live off of one income if you can, but in reality, to me, I think you need to. I think we're at that place where we need two incomes. I don't care how small or minute his or her money is, right? So let's get back to it.
It's not safe living like this when you're older. You have to drive everywhere you need to go. If I'm going to have something to eat, I have to go someplace to get food. If I need to use a bathroom, I have to get in the car and drive someplace. We're at my
She say when she got to use the bathroom, she got to get in her car and drive someplace. Right? She's living basically in her car. Shout out to the newbie in the chat. I see you. Let's get back to the video.
storage container. And this is where I had the movers bring all of my belongings. A lifetime of work and collecting. And this is it. I kept my drafting table, and I tried to keep it open because I was hoping that maybe I could work a little bit from here, but it's ridiculous, impossible.
Now I'm gonna pause right here. When I was looking at this video, I was like, I don't know why she not living in this shipping container. I'm just saying, I would be sleeping in that shipping container, and with my car parked right outside, and get me a LED canister light or something like that, and I'll be sitting right there. And if I gotta go use the bathroom, I'm just gonna go ride to McDonald's and go use the bathroom. Now, see, here's the other thing too. Can you live in these places and be on fruits and veggies? Because you know the fruits and veggies is gonna flow through you. I'm just asking questions. What you eating, right? I'm just asking questions. What you eating? Let's get back to it.
This is the cabinet where I keep a lot of my stored goods when I'm home. This is my son with his first tuna. And this is my children when they were little. And this is something my daughter made in school. And here's our family portrait. Hi, Steph. Here I am on the Rowley site at apartments.com, and there's one rental available, and it's for $3,500. My budget pushing it is $2,000. No one is moving anywhere because there's no place to move to. Just like crying all the time. It's ridiculous. Just ridiculous. I don't know. I guess I expect more of myself. This is another adventure. I'm just too old for it anymore. I really understand that when you're in the middle of something, it feels like it's never going to end. But, I can't find a place. I can't find a place. I've exhausted my resources. I looked in southern Maine. I looked in southern New Hampshire. I looked in northern New Hampshire. I really looked at everything. I need help.
So D asked the question, was curious as to state funded resources for seniors in her state. Why is she not looking for roommates? Where are her friends? So many questions. The next question is, she has two kids, a son and a daughter. Where are they at? Where are they at? Right? So where's her husband's people at? Um, there's a lot of questions there. He died at 52. Like, where are her husband people at? Like, there's a lot of questions. And I'm asking these questions, and I'm showing you this because it could be anybody in your family. It could be you. But what are you gonna do right now? You see it, you know it, you hear it, we talk about it, you've seen people do it. What are you gonna do to prevent that? What are you gonna put in place to prevent that? Right? What are you going to do to put in place to prevent that? So, starting now, a lot of you are 25 and you're like, oh, I got plenty of time. You don't. You don't have plenty of time. Go ahead and start saving for retirement now, right? Every little bit you get, save. Every little bit you get, save and invest. Every little bit you get, save and invest, and start coming up with a budget. Start planning. Do that now, right? If you're not in tech and you're looking to get in tech, we'll be opening up one-on-one soon, so we can get you all on the right, on the proper path. I know a lot of people been asking for it. We apologize. I just been busy. That's all I can tell you. I just been busy. Busy coming, not just coming up with this content, but just life. I have I gotta take care of me. I gotta do me. I gotta move forward, right? I can't tell you to move forward and I don't move forward, so I gotta take care of me. So there's a lot of things, right? So again, don't think of it as this is her. Put yourself in this situation, and what would you be doing, right? This can happen to anyone at any time. So a nonprofit she had been working with found her a spot, and she lived in her car for a year. 4 years she was living in her car. So they found a spot for her and stuff like that, and that's what they're getting ready to go into now. On these shows, but we're gonna go through and read some of these comments. It's a reason we're reading the comments today. It's only because there were other people in the comment section that gave their testimony, right? So we became homeless, living in our car in our 50s in the last recession down south. We moved to New Hampshire, but it took us a decade to fully recover. I keep telling you, when you have a big loss, when you lose, and you all don't realize this, right? A lot of people are like, well, sometimes you got to take a step back to go forward when you're working. When you lose $10,000, it may take you anywhere from 3 to 5 years to recover that. Let's say you lose $10,000. Let's say you go work for a company. Most companies don't give you large salary increases. They may give you about 3,000, 2,000, sometimes four. But again, you think that's 1 year that go by, another year that go by, for you to make up that 10,000 just to get back to where you were, and then go forward from there. So a loss of $10,000 in income at a job, because you feel like, if I take this step back, I'm gonna flourish and go forward, could be costing you anywhere from 3 to 5 years of earned income for retirement. It could be costing you 3 to 5 years of earned income, where you may have to stay in the market a little longer, right? Where you miss out on some stuff, right? What's going on, Princess? How you doing? Right? I just want you all to realize what's happening out here as you work, as you get married, as you grow, as you become prepared for life, what that could look like, right? So we're gonna keep going. The situation that happened with Section 8. It looks so small on the screen. Oh, there you go. The situation that happened with Section 8. They were cutting off Section 8, but this lady needed Section 8. And it's a stigma out there that all the black people out there are all on Section 8. They're all the baby mamas are all on Section 8. Well, we just showed you a 72-year-old that was living in a car. I just read the comment about some people that lost their monies in their 50s. Like, you all like, I don't know what this thing is, right? I don't know what this where we're at with this, right? I have no idea what's going on. But it has to stop. And it has to stop with you, right? You got to get out here. You're gonna have to work, right? You're gonna have to build your skills up. And I'm trying to tell you how to do it. So you're not on so you're not a clip on tech stocks and jobs where you didn't make it, right? We want you to make it. We want you to thrive, right? 47K ain't enough. I'm sorry. Stop telling yourself that. It ain't. A Queen Lee, this is tough to look at. I learned my mother to stay skilled up. She wasn't college educated, but that woman always taking a class to get ready for a new role. May she rest in peace. Exactly. Priscilla, you said, "Yep, happened to me. I lost my money and my home and had to start from square one in my late 30s. Yeah, it can happen to anybody, anytime, right?" This comment here, this says, "I know how you feel. I'm 76 years old and my rent went up $300 in the past 2 years. I live month to month waiting to be evicted. I pray and I cry a lot. I never thought my life would end this way." No one thinks their life would end this way. No one thinks that way. But I'm trying to help you not to think that your life going to end this way. I'm trying to help you get some money and put some money aside and put into a 401k, on a municipal bond, a bond. Like, if you, like I say, if you can't do something small. You ain't got to do everything big. DCA your way in on a stock. Put $5 on something. Do something. Don't sit aside and just let it just be there. Don't just be here in life, right? All right, so let me look. Let's keep going. Here we go. Um, I worked hard to put myself through college and have worked my entire life, but I lost my job in 2007 during the economic downturn. I lost everything and was sleeping in my car. Eventually, rebuilt my life and lost a job again in 2020. Now I'm about to lose everything again. But now I'm older with health issues and have four rescue dogs. Right? So I'm gonna read it again. I worked hard to put myself through college and have worked my entire life. But I lost my job in 2007 during the economic downturn. I lost everything and I was sleeping in my car. Eventually, I rebuilt my life and lost my job again in 2020. And now I'm about to lose everything again. Who is she talking to? Or he? Yeah, girl forever. Who is she talking to? What budget did she have? What plan did she have? What did she not learn from the first time? Stop going around here and not creating plans for yourself. Create a budget. Talk to a financial a financial person, right? A financial analyst, financial planner. Do something. Don't sit on the side. D said my font was too small, but when I make it bigger, D, it takes it out of the screen. So that's about as large as I can get there. All right. Let me keep going in the comments because there were so many comments. Let me see. All right. It's a very real problem across the country. I moved from the city back to my small hometown to escape the ever increasing rent, and a year later in my small town was also raising rent inconceivable amounts. This greed is harming so many. Right. So here's one named Tony Weston. So I'm 71. I had to trade the bill I was paying for my two big storage units for rent on a little duplex. After 5 years of paying on the units, I made the decision. Actually, it was the Ukrainians walking away from their homes with just their children. I finally found strength to let my worldly junk go. Approximately 75,000 worth of beautiful things. The amount I was paying is now two-thirds of my rent and on. And I do mean small, place that in mind. It's not much. The alternator went out on my car right after the master cylinder had been replaced. Just say best of luck. Still dream of my stuff every day. Got my son though. He could stop by and have dinner and watch a little tube. The stress is less for sure. Still miss my stuff, but not quite as much as 6 months ago. And this particular article, this particular clip is filled with these things, right? Filled with stuff like this. And I brought that up because I wanted to kind of hop over here. This is part of what I want to talk about right here. Women need to save more earlier and invest more aggressively for retirement. I don't think I need to say here's why. I showed you here's why, right? Showed you here's why. I hope that kind of clicked for you. But also, men need to save more, and particularly minority men. A lot of men are don't have the ability to retire. You're working a lot longer, a lot older. Hence, you see people looking to mate up at in their late 50s, 60s, and 70s, because they're like, I can't continue to live like this by myself. I need help. If you were not kind to people, if you were not kind to your friends, your neighbors, your family, and so forth, and you're just out here loner in the world, you don't talk to people or whatnot, this could happen to anybody. All I'm trying to get you to realize is it doesn't just happen to women, it also happen to men. But women, you tend to live, women tend to live longer than men. She was 72, he was 52 when she died, and right now she's scraping by, right? All right, so let's get into this article. I'm gonna blow it up some here. There we go. Women who take time to care for family members are repaid by having their retirement savings cut by 35% and possibly ending up in an earlier than wanted retirement, a new report found. Many American women are struggling to save adequately for retirement in the face of a competing job and family responsibilities. Now, I say that to say, hopefully, some of these women are married. Hopefully, you have a partner and y'all have an agreement. Or hopefully, you got some money that you can put away, or you got something that's coming to you, right? Many women are struggling to save adequately for retirement, in the face of competing jobs and family responsibilities, and it's coming from Goldman Sachs, right? It says throughout their careers, women are more likely than men to juggle caregiving responsibilities that eat into their retirement savings. These caregiving tasks also cut careers short, with more than 60% of women respondents reported retiring earlier than planned, and two-thirds of this group doing so for reasons outside of their control. Women more often than men are forced to work part-time, spend time out of the workforce to care for young children and elderly family members, and juggle other financial priorities during their careers. Um, it says this can make your journey to retirement more difficult and incredibly personal, right? Time out of the workforce to care for family contributes to financial struggles for many women. For example, 2 4 year periods out of the workforce, one mid career and one later, can reduce retirement savings by 35%, right? So it behooves you, for you that have parents, that are maybe continue, that may be still working. I start asking them questions about, well, what does retirement look like for them? Do they have money saved up? Do they have a place to stay? Are they still paying mortgage? Are they renting? Some people are forever renters. What does that look like? Do you yourself, as the child or children, have some place for your parents? Can you pull together money to take care of your parents? And it may not be they live together. It may be one parent lives somewhere else and another parent lives somewhere else. What does that look like? What does a parent have high blood pressure, diabetes, going through cancer, has always had ailments throughout their entire life? What does that look like? It is going to be on you if that's something you care about. Some of you don't have a good relationship with your parents, right? I get that. So the I'm speaking to the ones that do have good relationships, that do care about their well being and so forth, right? I want you to be have these conversations. They're tough, but you need to have them. You need to find out what that looks like and probably put it in your budget. Just go on and put it in your. Just go on and throw $1,000 over there for it. Go on and throw 500 over there for it. Just throw it over there. So that way, when it comes down to it, you can be like, oh yeah, I got that, no problem. Oh yeah, what you need? Okay, cool. That's why it behooves you to keep your credit up, not just for a job. That's not the only reason, but so you can at least use a credit card if you had to have to. You got some emergency funds, right? People say 6 months. I say you need maybe a year to two on emergency funds. That's just my thought process. That's just my thought process. All right. So let's get back to it. It says, given the potential disruptions in careers as well as the gender wage gap in which men tend to earn more than women, women may need to start saving earlier. And I'm saying, as soon as you start working, and if you working at Taco Bell and you listen to this, put some money up, all right, and save more aggressively and take more investment risk in their portfolios. Also, American women live 3 years longer than men on average and typically need more savings to finance their retirement. According to a report, more than 50%, more women 50% than men 35% said their retirement savings are behind schedule. Nearly one quarter of the women said they were very behind schedule compared to 14% of the men. When it comes to retirement, it's 50% of the men said they retired earlier than planned, but the percentage of rose to 61% for women. Only 15% of the women said they retired because their savings was sufficient to fund my retirement, versus 25% for men. 66% of the women who retired for reasons outside of their control most often cited health reasons, right? 29% of that, right? To take care of the family, 16%, and the other part, their job was no longer available was 15%. So I'm gonna say in the black community, it's probably all three at one time. There's probably 29% that have to stop working because of health reasons, and they have to take care of for a sick family member who is sicker than who they are than what they have, and their job is no longer there, or the job may not no longer be there. This is why skills are so important, right? Despite the complications in managing retirement savings over start and stop careers, women don't turn to outside resources for advice. You don't. I know you don't, because when I talk to the financial planners, they're like, "You're ahead of the game. Thank you for coming in. We please spread this message. Let us know how we can help." Of course, they're trying to drum up business, but when they that excited to see me talking to them, I got a lot of questions, right? Although women see financial advice as important, they tend to turn to family members for answers who are probably struggling themselves. After family, women seek help from their employers' retirement programs. Family advisors are not the top resource for women, right? And it takes some money. It does. And also takes some time. The time that you spend on YouTube is money. The time that you spend research is money, right? Hit the like button. Hit the like button. All right. Right. I know some land for golden acres, right? The difference in utilization of these resources highlight the gap in retirement. Advisors being able to meet women where they are, said Chris Setter, senior retirement strategist at Goldman Sachs. Right, the data indicated that the financial industry and employers may need to tweak their offerings to better help women. Like I said, when I took the job in Sarasota, one of the things was, hey, you need to go meet with the financial planner. Hey, you need to go quarterly. Let's review your portfolio. Let's do X, Y, and Z. Let's go here and do blah, 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 and blah. You have a 401k at your job. They also have videos, whoever you have, if you're with Vanguard, or if you're with Fidelity, or if you're with just the different ones, they have videos. You have the opportunity to meet with a financial advisor or a planner. Go take some time and do it, and then ask questions while you're there. You be like, I don't understand, what does this mean? What does even IRA stand for, right? Like, go ask these questions, right? And then, like, the stuff that I tell you here, don't just take my word for it, right? I just why I try to provide you links. I want you to go read it for yourself. I want you to get you a notebook. I want you to create your own dictionary of what the acronyms mean. Go look that stuff up. That's why I always make reference to Investopedia. I always make reference to looking at brokerage accounts and how to navigate them. I pull them up for you. I go through those things. I want you to be just as savvy as the next person. And what you don't know, you need to start asking questions and finding out about it, right? You're gonna have to do that. If you're not gonna pay for financial advice, if you're not gonna go somewhere and ask those questions, at the least, do yourself the service of doing the research, making notes, getting on the phone with other family members and actually talking about those things is going to be important. Find those things out. Find out what your options are. What are tax strategies? What is tax planning? Like, you're going to go file for your tax refund now, but did you take advantage of all the tax advantages that you could possibly take care of? What can you do to prepare for next year? You might have missed some this year. Okay, cool. What are you going to do for next year? What are your options? Should you be working W-2? Should you be working 1099? Should you do both? Can you freelance? Hey, boo boo, what about you? I'm just asking, right? I'm just asking, what are you going to do? Right? Don't be on the sideline. Don't be driving around in your Volvo pulling up to the cemetery to wash your face and wash your hands and then go to McDonald's to take a pop and a squat. Like, don't be that person. You don't have to be. I'm giving you the resources so you don't have to be that person. What are you going to do to execute? If you're mad at me right now, you're going to be mad later on in this stream. And guess who don't care? I don't. I don't. Just be mad at me. Click off now. Click off now. Be mad at me and click off. But come back. Because after you get mad, you can be like, well, she was right. I just don't want to hear that this morning. That ain't what I came for. Well, it's all right. You're going to be okay. All right. So it says employers may need to look at greater paid family leave benefits, more flexible transitions back into the workforce after leaves, and childcare services to help women. Women have unique needs for investing and retirement savings. How do we help women stay working and stay saving? Right? How do we help women stay working and stay saving? Like, I can go into more of these articles, but I got some other articles to go into. All right. Put a one in the chat if you're with me so far. I see some people have clicked off. And I'm okay with that. Put a one in the chat. All right. So, because we were talking about money, right? And we're talking about retirement savings, I went and looked up where in the world can you find just financial money blogs. So I found this site called Modest Money, and it ranks different financial blogs. And they start off with Penny Hoarder, Smart Asset, Money Crashers, Get Rich Slowly, Good Financial Sense, Nerd's Eye View. I want you to have this so that you know where to go to look for financial blogs for yourself. You can't really see it on the screen. Let me blow it up a little bit more. There we go. And I'll give this to Dee for you all to post and for you all to have that as your something that you can look at. All right. Papa Squat, right? So, Penny Hoarder, Smart Asset, Money Crashers, Get Rich Slowly, Good Financial Sense, and they got them ranked here, by the score, and they also got them ranked by SEO traffic. They're just showing like who's getting the most traffic. But go through these. There may be something that you like. The College Investor, My Wife Quit Her Job, Modest money, credit donkey, millennial money, budgets are sexy, how to use penny stocks, the fire movement, right? So this is I'm giving this to you so you can go through it for yourself, so you can find out what matches you. I'll probably do something here in the next couple of weeks where we pick out blogs on here that we like, and then let's do a blog review of these, right? Anybody who want to join with me on that, that'll be something we can do jointly. But you have the link. You can go do your research on these, and then we can come back and say, well, what we found useful on these blogs, and then some go look at the content. Some of them haven't been updated, so go through and check them out, right? On these blogs, like, so you can click here. Here's Penny Hoarder, right? And here we go. Right, 8 ways to listen to free music online. Supply chain shortages. Dear Penny, how do I kick my 32-year-old daughter out after 2 years? See, here go Petty T. You know I want to click on that. You know I want to click on that. You know Petty T wants to click on that. Right? Dear Petty, are we jerks? We don't pay $600 for my in-laws house cleaning, right? And so forth and so on. We still owe, dear Penny, seven best pieces of money advice for 50 somethings we've ever heard, right? So again, Penny Hoarder, and they have careers down here at Penny Hoarder as well too. So some of you all like working for financial columns and so forth. So go check out Hoarder and what they have for their current one. They got a marketing and PR manager right now, but they have competitive compensation, generous paid time off as 10 paid time off and 10 holidays, 401k match, subsidized medical insurance as well as dental, vision, disability and supplemental plans, life insurance with options to buy up, and pet insurance, right? So again, like when you look at, don't just look at the blog. That blog may be hiring, right? So let us know who wants to do a review on these blogs where we can go through and check it out, right? All right. So now we talked about this one. Which way? Oh, I didn't mean to close that one. Gosh, I'm gonna have to go back and find out what that was. All right. So, being that we've been talking about living conditions and family members and stuff, let's move into this segment of here are the 25 best affordable places to live in the Southeast. Whether you know it or not, majority of Black people live in the Southeast. If you want to include the Southwest as well, because that's what Texas is. But we live in the Southeast, right? Majority of us. So whether you're looking for community engagement, affordable housing, opportunities, nature trails, art of great food, there's something here for everyone, right? Each year, we at Livability put up our top 100 best places to live in America. This list is based on more than 50 data points and examines 2,300 cities to narrow down the very best places to live here in the country. And I think I went over this last year. Hit me up in Slack, Queenly. Hit me up in Slack. Afri, hit me up in Slack, and then we can take that list and carve it up. Like maybe somebody take the first 10, then somebody take another 10 or whatever. We just go through and do a review if it's up to date, what you liked about it, the font on the screen, whatever the case may be, and the information that they're giving, right? So we can go through that, right? So Franklin, Tennessee. I'm just gonna go down the lane, the cities. I'm not gonna spend time on them. Raleigh, North Carolina. Frederick, Maryland. I feel like I went over this last week, but that's okay. We'll reiterate for this conversation. Frederick, Maryland. McKinney, Texas. Asheville, North Carolina. Charlottesville, Virginia, Columbia, Maryland. Notice that Columbia, Maryland is considered the Southeast as much as they like to think they're North. Plano, Texas, Virginia Beach, Virginia, Cary, North Carolina, Durham, North Carolina, Louisville, Kentucky. D, I think you said you liked Louisville, did you? Louisville. Greensboro, North Carolina, Denton, Texas, Huntsville. That's Huntsville, Alabama. Lexington, Kentucky, Knoxville, Tennessee, Malden, South Carolina, Roswell, Georgia, Sugarland, Texas, Pflugerville, Texas, Marietta, Georgia, Tampa, Florida, Harrisonburg, Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. And that's it, right? But you see what's up on the screen. I'm trying not to do it. Don't do it, T. Petty tea time. That's one of the articles. We're gonna click off though. All right. So there's a video from the money guy for this year. It's Harrisonburg. It wasn't Harrisburg. It said Harrisonburg. Um, it's the money guy did a video on where you should be at as a financial mutant, as they like to refer to people, and for your 401k. Um, I'm not going to review that video this week. I'll probably do it next week, but you can go look it up yourself. But I'll probably go over it next week. However, I went to Financial Samurai. And this came out on the 5th. Today's the 14th. On what you should have in your 401k. And so in this article, he talks about the goal. His goal is for you to be 401k millionaires. My goal is for you to be tax free, tax tax deferred, and HSA millionaires, right? I want you to be as diverse in your strategies and in the way you draw down in retirement, whether you retire at 40, whether you retire at 50, 55, 60. I want you to be as diverse as possible, right? So that's why I mentioned things that are tax free, the tax deferred, your Roth 401k, so forth and so on. So let's get into this. So for this year, for 2023 to invest in your 401k is 22,500. What's going on, Alonzo? All right. So the 401k is a part of your new three-legged retirement stool. So let's go over here. Let me click on that so you can see what he's talking about. This is just his strategy. Remember, I told you I follow the three bucket strategy. You have your own strategies that you can follow. Remember, there was 6 different retirement strategies. Let me pull those up. That I covered last year, and it was from Seeking Alpha that I talked about. So again, last year I talked about six different strategies that for retirement income, right? So let's go look those over again. Let me get the names because they're in here. All right, so the certainty strategy. Many institutions employ asset liability management (ALM) to fund their future liabilities. Simply speaking, clients invest money today in a manner designed to meet future liability with a high degree of certainty. For example, let's assume from 1 year from now, they want to cover $50,000 in income, and the current interest rate is environment is 3%. If the interest rate and the principal are guaranteed, we might advise them to invest 48,000 minus 50,000 divided by 1.03, excuse me, today to meet their future obligation. That's just one of the strategies, right? And it says here, so they could invest $50,000 in the U.S. Treasury inflation protected securities called TIPS. Now we've seen different U.S. Treasury options. We've seen T bills, and I need to do a review on T bills. We've seen bonds, we've seen bond laddering, we've seen CDs, CD laddering, and so forth. I'm just trying to show you there are just different ways as well to do these things, right? The static strategy. If a client lacks capital to fund ALM, again, ALM up here is asset liability management, ALM. If the client lacks the capital to fund the ALM strategy or can't estimate how long their retirement will last, an alternative approach that is a safe withdrawal from their portfolio using the historical returns of the 50/50, right? Stock and bond, right? That's being safe. Usually most people are doing 80/20 for being aggressive. That's what they were talking about in the last segment of what we were talking about in that women need to save more and be aggressive. They were talking about 80/20. But a lot of women are not comfortable with 80/20. Like you're putting away your money and you're seeing 80, you're putting in 80/20 in the stock market and you're seeing that getting flushed down the toilet. You're like, wait a minute, don't pop a squat on my retirement here, right? So that's why I say some of you are not safe with that. Some of you are not okay with that 80/20. It's gonna take, you need to watch it for the next 10 and 15 years. And some of you may not be in the workforce the next 10 to 15, 20 years. So what can you do that's safe? That's why I introduce you to bonds, because it's safe. I introduce you to muni bonds. Not a big return, but it's safe. I'm just trying to get you in the mindset of you can be safe, you can be moderately aggressive, and then for some of you, you may just have to be aggressive. But you need to have skills so that you can invest in these things and be that diverse and be aggressive when you're doing these investments, right? Some of you may just invest in targeted date funds where you're like in 2035, 2040, I'm just putting $500 in here and that is going to do what it do. And that's just where I'm at. And that may work for you. That's okay. All right. So let's get back to it. It says this is a life turn approach. Okay, use a historical 50/50 bond. Therefore, to sustain a real annual income of 50,000, a client would need 1.25. Again, with the withdrawal rate of 4%. Every year after that, they would have to adjust. Now, when they talk about this static strategy, and when we're talking about retirement, some people don't include Social Security as part of their retirement because they may retire at 62 and 65, and to get your full retirement depending on your age could be 70 and it could be 72. I think for me it's 70 for full retirement. But again, knowing this, you need to go to Social Security and then go through and find out what's going to be your early, what's going to be your mid, and then your full. Or what's going to be your full? It's early, full, and then delayed. So I can delay out to 70, right? So if I delayed out to 70, full transparency, if I delayed out to 70 right now, I'll get about 4,600, right? 4,600 if I delay out to 70 to collect Social Security. Remember, Social Security is a trust fund. You saw them talking about this week. They want to do away with the IRS. All right, they want to do away with that. But there's also been talk about there may not be a Social Security in the next 20 years. Right. So again, most people calculate some of their early part of their Social Security, early part of their retirement without Social Security, and then later on they include that, right? But again, 4%. Ask yourself, what can you live off of 50,000, right? So that 50,000, when they say living off that 50,000, most people are not still paying their car note, and they're not paying a mortgage. So where can you go buy a house where you can get that paid off quickly, um, or have it so low that it doesn't affect you, right, in retirement, right? When I say it doesn't affect you in retirement, meaning like you're not spending $4,000 a month to live in a house, right? Plus all the other things where you may be spending 2,000, you may be spending 1,500, and then you may have a small car note that's like $200, right? So roughly speaking, most people are probably averaging anywhere for retirement. From what I've been listening to on these podcasts, they're ranging anywhere from, on those podcasts, they'll range from 10 to 20,000. But some of you may not need that. You may be cool with $5,000 to $10,000 range. So I like to tend to think of, well, what can I do in those ranges, and what cities can I live in those ranges, right? Can I live in DC on $5,000 a month? Can I live in Virginia on $10,000 a month? Most places you can get away with $10,000 a month. So I tend to think of anywhere from 8 to 10 for my monthly living expenses for retirement. And that's living like quite nicely if you are retired and you got everything else paid for, or what have you, right? So again, you don't have to pay for your own house. You could rent, you could probably be a renter and stay in an apartment if you wanted to, and buy a house and have somebody else live in it, and then make sure they pay the rent on that house. You rent that house for, say you get a house, your mortgage may be 2,500. Go ahead and rent it out for 3,000 or 3,500, and let somebody else pay for that rent over time, right? Keep it rented out and let somebody else pay for it, even though you may go live in an apartment, or you may go live in a room or something like that. It depends on how you're feeling. It depends on who you are, what you got going on, married, single, kid, whatever the case may be. But again, this is not financial advice. These are just things that I've discovered along the way. All right. So that's on the static strategy. I follow the bucket strategy. Some people like, oh, don't follow that, right? Some people like, don't follow the 4%, right? You do what you want and what you will with the bucket strategy, with the three bucket strategy. I've shown you this before. The three bucket strategy here. Let's pull that up here. They got short term, mid term, long term. It comes in different ways. Let's go to images. You'll see you'll see this as tax free. You see tax now, tax free, tax deferred. You'll see that. Um, as you can see here, if you blow this one up, you can see this one in here is cash, defensive allocation, equity allocation. It depends on how that person defines it. But again, it's your short term goals where right now, oh, I know I want to go buy a home. Here's my short term plan. Here's the money I got to use with that. Here's my tax deferred money, my 401ks, Roth, traditional, uh, Roth IRA, maybe even an annuity, variable life, whatever the case may be. Or I have a tax free account where part of that Roth may be part of that tax free, or you got municipal bonds, mutual funds, whatever the case may be, right? That falls under tax free. Not everything falls under tax free. Some people try to load up on tax free and let that money do what it's going to do, right? So again, and when the other part of this is, what's the cash you're going to have on hand in your accounts? That's something else to think about. Again, emergency fund, I tend to do 1 to 2 years. Most people say 6 months. Dave Ramsey say put $1,000 away. I'm telling you, you're gonna need more than that, especially if you own a home. $1,000 in an emergency can easily, if an air conditioner go out, that $1,000 go out the window. If an AC unit go out, that's about $10,000 to $15,000 right there. That's gonna go out the window, right? So that is the three bucket strategy. The other one is the variable strategy. And I kind of hinted on this earlier. Um, Most static retirement income programs simply adjust a client's income distribution for inflation, keeping their real income the same regardless of the need. right? But um, Morningstar's David Blanchett said or found that spending doesn't stay the same throughout retirement, and it doesn't. The older you get, the sicker you may become. You need more things. The body starts to break down a little more. So you may need you may need to put in for long term care. There's also some things out there that you could do for long term care, right? So we're talking about the variable strategy. So he says the clients spend more early in their retirement and taper their expenditures in the middle of retirement, and then increase their outlay later in retirement. So I just retired. You know what I'm doing because I'm still young. I'm still festive. I'm bossy or whatever. Right? You still want to get out so you can get out there and go travel. You get the RV, you go on that cruise, you hit up Tom Joyner, you over there doing the electric slide. You're out there, you going, you know what I'm saying, you going doing your things, you hitting up Vegas, you going doing your tours, you hitting all the spots that you want to hit because you never did it before, you ain't had time to do it. Now you and your others or you and your friends, your day ones, whatever the case may be, have the ability to do it, right? So the early part of retirement, you may spend a little more. You get to the middle part of your retirement, you're like, I've been did that, been there, guy. I'm done. I don't need to do that now. I'm kind of settled down, and you get your body starts to break down a little bit more. So yeah, you might be like, okay, I got enough to sustain, but then you get older, and here's that other part where you may need more money drawn down because of that. So what they're saying is you may do this in retirement, like you may do a U in retirement where you spend big here, you come down to the middle, you're like, that's looking good. Then you look up, you're looking for that next spot, that next level. And so that this called, I consider that like a U shape, right? It says with this in mind, clients may wish to deploy a variable spending schedule that anticipates the retirement spending smile, right? They call it a smile, I'll call it a U. The next one is the dynamic strategy, right? The dynamic strategy. While a variable income strategy lays out phases to income, a dynamic strategy adjusts to the market conditions. One form of dynamic income planning uses the Monte Carlo. So the ones that I show you, the Money Guy, the Oak Harvest. I don't know if y'all remember Oak Harvest on YouTube. They're a little bit more button up. They're not as free flowing as what you call it. So here we go. Oak Harvest Financial. If you go check them out, I think they're based out of Tennessee. You can check them out. I'm 60 with a 1.5 million in my retirement. How do I pay less on taxes? And they go through showing you how they do their retirement strategy for someone. And they often refer to the Monte Carlo as their algorithm that they use, right? So I implore you to check them out. They're pretty, like I say, they're kind of stuffy to me. They're a little button up, but it makes sense on what they're talking about and what they're doing, right? So that's just another one. And then here, the insurance strategy, right? Ultimately, the retirement fund is used to generate income, and most of the strategies thus far assume a retirement horizon. But the horizon is impossible to predict. The only way to eliminate a client's longevity risk is to ensure that the retirement income stream, right? In this scenario, the client works with an insurance company, paying a lump sum upfront to guarantee a regular income over time. And this is getting into like your annuities and variable life policies and so forth. To evaluate the strategy, we must balance the comfort of receiving an income regardless of the market performance. So there's different ones. There's index funds as well as too, right? Principal accessibility, beneficiary payouts, credit worthiness, and expenses are just a few factors to consider, right? To be sure, these strategies are hardly exhaustive. They simply provide a framework we can use to help our clients and so forth, right? So your insurance companies, your New York Life, Mass Mutuals, Northwestern, And there are a slew of others that are out there. Did I say Mass Mutual? But those are a slew of others that are out there that you can contact and figure out whether or not this is going to be a strategy for you, right? So why did I bring all these different retirement strategies up? It's because of the article that we were just on. Is it this one? Yeah. So back to here. He comes up with the his three legs retirement stool. His three-leg retirement stool is pension, social security, and personal savings. Now, when we are listening to Jill on the money, you often hear a lot of her callers call in and say, "Hey, I've been working for this company. It has a pension." Like I said, not every company has a pension. I did a show just last week, on the 15 top companies that still have pensions. Like I said, some of you, and this is the difference between a 401k and a pension. With the pension, the company that you're working for and whoever they hire drives what that money that gets invested. You don't have any control over that investment. Whereas in the 401k, you have control over that investment. All right. What's going on, Peter Investor? All right. You have control on where it gets invested to and so forth. And you also have heard in the newer laws, like I think it was the Secure Act 2.0 that came out, they automatically enroll you into your 401ks. Like it's not like, oh, we got to wait for you to sign up for you to get into your 401k. You're working for us, you're automatically enrolled in it. Now you need to go in and look at how it's allocated and what is allocated in, right? So that's what you have to do there. All right. So again, we got pension, we got social security, and then we got personal savings. For you that don't have pensions, this may be your 401k or Roth 401k, your social security, and then your personal savings. Being able to stack that money up and put that money into a money market account so it can grow. Some of you may put it into CDs because you may not need it right now. Some may do bonds. Some people just not gonna do nothing and just gonna have it sitting in a savings account and just call it good, right? Um, I know that's gonna happen. So let's go back to what he was saying. He was saying here on the 401k, we talked about the change now from in 2023 is 22,500, right? All right, but it says based on Fidelity's 2020 study, here's an average retirement balances for IRA, 401k, and 403b. Expect the balances to be the same for 2023 after a strong 2021 and a poor 2022. Yeah, you can see it on the screen. I'm blow up just a little bigger. All right, there we go. The average IRA balance was 111,000 at 13% increase from last quarter. It is slightly higher than the average balance of 110. The average 401k increased to 104 in Q2 of 2020, a 14% increase in Q1, but 2% down from a year ago, right? And so it gives like an average account on the balances, and this is from Fidelity. Fidelity produces these reports, right? But the question is, where should you be at in your 401k? So based on Fidelity's 2022 report, the average 401k balance is 121. However, from the ages of 20 to 29, you should be around about 15,000. From 30 to 39, you should be around 51 is what they're saying. And from 40 to 49, 120, and then from 50 to 59, 206. Now, with that being said, when you go look at the money guy and you start looking at what they consider financial mutants, it's a totally different formula that they use that they say where you need to be at. And again, when we're looking right here between 30 to 59, I want to say really 30 to 40. I would say even 30 to 59. You should be in what they consider hyper accumulation. Hyper accumulation, right? I keep referring to this video. Do y'all want me to bring this video up? Because I keep referring to it. Do y'all want me to bring the money guy video up? Put a one in the chat if you want me to put that up. right? Alfred, you're right. There is a risk with the pension. If the company does go bankrupt, you could lose the pension. So there is a risk there, right? So again, you got to figure out what those companies are. That's why I pulled the best 15 companies that do still have a pension, that are still around. Places like Coca-Cola, PepsiCo, IBM, and so forth, right? Um, and let's see. Uh, they broke that down 401k by age. They did a bar chart right there, and so forth, right? So let's go over and look at the money guys. Let's go look at the money guy, and let's look at their videos here. So I watched this video, the 5 levels of wealth. Your average net worth. Let's see. Tax loss harvesting. I kind of covered that some. Let me see if I can find this video. Where you should be. They might have made it private. Where you should be at in your 401k. It wasn't 2 weeks ago. It was this week. So let's go back up and let's do money guy and let's do 401k. I might have just scrolled over it. That was 8 months ago, 5 months ago. They just did one. Interesting, but that's okay though, because we can still look at this. We can still look at this one, and so you can get an idea of their formula that they use. All right, so all right, let's see. And I just went over that 3 bucket strategy, and I went over actually 6 different strategies. You all don't have to follow the strategy I follow. I just think it makes it. I just think the 3 bucket strategy is easy, um, in terms of like how to invest, right? Like, oh, I need tax deferred. Oh, you don't have audio. All right, let me switch up. Tax deferred, tax free, and tax now, right? So let me switch over to this over here, and we'll bring it back.
A lot of people, he tries to get the best out of everyone.
Let me go back.
Work with clients in 45 states.
Yep.
And when we asked, how did you make your money? Were you like a virtuoso? Were you somebody that inherited it? Were you an entrepreneur, a senior executive? No. The lion's share, 68% of our clients came from savers / investors. And I bet it.
Now, what they're referring to in this video is they do wealth management and tax planning and so forth, and they talk about how the people in their company, not necessarily the people they work for, but their clients, what they do. They're savers and investors, senior executives, entrepreneurs, and virtuoso, right? So they save and invest, right? And so that's where 68% of the millionaires in their portfolio is how they became millionaires and how they make money for retirement. So
Relates back to that Ramsey Solution data point that around 80% are also highly involved in their employer retirement plans.
And so you may be saying, okay, well, why are people taking advantage of this? Why do people use their 401ks? Well, one of the reasons that people often use a 401k or use an employer-sponsored plan is one of our favorite things in the whole world. It's
let's skip to this one.
Yeah, let's kind of dissect it and take this thing apart. He did a little redirection there, is that he said, okay, inflation's 3.1% a year. And then he had you extrapolate that out for the next 20 years and how it's losing purchasing power. But you see, he left out, there was a big thing he left out that you're doing with the money. Because when your money goes in the 401k, does it just sit there and start essentially dissolving because of inflation. No, we talk about it. Anybody who's watching the Money Guy show, we tell you put that money to work in low cost index funds. And this is where I think, let's go ahead and put the math to it. He said, pull out your calculator. Good news. We did bring our calculators just like he suggested. Now, look, let me go ahead and tell you where one of the math crimes occurred is he said $1 invested in your plan is only going to generate $1.06. The reality is a lot of plans are dollar for dollar contributions. So if you put $1 in.
So I want to say this too. You all that have 401ks, make sure you're putting enough money in to make the gain on that match, right? Whether it's 3%, 4%, 8%, 6, 10, whatever the case may be. Make sure you're putting in enough money so you can get a match on your money, right? But just make sure you get make sure you get your match. Because that's the advantage to you, right? That's the advantage to you from the employer is that match. Just remember and this is why I was listening to Jill on the money. The reason why I was listening to Jill on the money is because after you start getting to the point where you've put in a lot of money, you need to also make sure you have money saved up like cash wise. And then because again, you got to remember, if you got 1.5 million in a 401k, when you pull that money down, it's going to get taxed as you pull it down. But if you have cash and you have a tax-free account and you have other ways to get money without being behind what they call it is a paywall, that helps too. So you're not just getting money from your 401k, you have cash on hand. You also have municipal bonds and maybe index funds, whatever the case may be. Again, in your retirement, you don't want to be a one-trick pony. You want to be a 5-star general, right? And that 5-star general has five ways to get income. I might get 30,000 or 10,000 from 401k for my retirement, but I may get 10,000 or 20,000 from an annuity or whatever, right? You want to have multiple sources of income, right? Multiple sources of income in your retirement, right? In your retirement.
Your employer puts $1 in. That's $2 that got invested. And here's what we know. That dollar that he said turned into 53 cents because he just has it dissolving because of inflation. If you actually invested it with a very reasonable 8% rate of return over the same 20-year period, it would turn that dollar into $4.93. But good news, we didn't invest just one because we got that free employer match. We actually invested $2, so it's worth right under $10.
That's exactly
so
right.
Here's what's crazy. He says that the dollar turned into 53 cents. In reality, it turned into almost $10 with the employer match. That's a 2,000% difference from what he, supposedly was telling us were the facts. Be careful where you get your information.
What I think is so interesting is he was actually talking about a relatively short time period, 20 years. If you've been listening to this show for any amount of time, you know that we love this idea of 88 times over. $1 invested for a 20-year-old can turn into $88 by the time that they get to retirement, by the time they get to age 65. It's why we have the koozies. It's why we have the wealth multiplier. If you go to moneyguide.com/resources, you can see the illustration. But if you're someone fortunate enough to work with an employer that does a dollar for dollar match, it is actually better than 88 times over for you. $1 for you, if your employer will also put $1 in at age 20, can turn into almost $177 by the time that you get to 65. So I think that.
All right. So you can see where they were going with that. There is another one that. In this video, there was another. I can't find that other video, but we'll go here. So here they're talking about the different types of employer contributions. A lot of you have seen matching. There are some companies that, regardless of what you do, they're just going to put in 10% directly into your 401k. They're going to automatically put 25% into your 401k. It's not a match. It's an automatic contribution to your 401k at 10%. So take your salary. Let's say you make $100,000. Let's do 10% of that, which is $10,000. So for that year, that company is going to invest $10,000 into your 401k. You still have the ability for you yourself to add into that. So I think the rule of thumb, I think it was like 53,000 with the employer. So I think the employer can do their match and then you yourself can add to that match. But I think it came up, I think it still comes up to, I think that total was like 53,000. I got to double check that one, right? So where you can be putting away your money. So you could be working for a company that's putting 25% into your 401k, right? And then you're going in and putting in, you could put in 25% if you want to, depending on how what your budget is or whatnot. Or you could put in 5%, or you could put in $100 or whatever the case may be. But your employer is going to put in the bulk of that money. But you want to have your dollars working for you, not you working for your dollars, right? That's the ultimate goal. So let's go back and see what other types of contributions that they talk about.
Income or a certain dollar amount, whatever that number is, that's the free money. So if it's 50 cents on the dollar on the first 6%, you want to do 6%. So you get 3% free from your employer for a total of 9%. Yep. If it's dollar for dollar up to 6%, you do 6% still, but now you're getting 12% in total because you are putting in 6 and your employer. Really powerful stuff. Now, look, we'll talk about in a minute some ways that this can be put in where you'll know how much of this you get to keep instantly or how much has a vesting schedule. But matching is the first thing to understand.
So there's matching contributions where you have to have some skin in the game. But then there are another type of contributions called non-elective. Whether you participate or not, the employer puts money in on your behalf. Most often, we see this with what are called safe harbor plans. It's a special type of plan that allows your employer to have very simplified logistics and administration, which means even if you don't put any money in, the employer puts money in for you. So obviously,
and that's the plan I was talking about. Some companies do that.
If you're in a plan that has non-elective contributions, that's gravy. That's free money that you can't screw up even if you wanted to.
Yeah, and you see these a lot of times when I've seen non-elective safe harbor plans, you'll see no matter what your behavior is, your employers go put in 3%. Yep. And that's pretty powerful.
And then the third type of contribution from the employer that can go in is known as profit sharing. This is where the employer contributes a portion of profits to your 401k. Oftentimes, this is discretionary year over year, and these contributions can fluctuate based on a number of things. Perhaps it's your job role, perhaps it's your income, perhaps it is the profitability of the company, but these are additional employer dollars that can flow into the plan on your behalf.
And both.
All right, so we saw that. We saw matching, we saw pretty much the employer putting into your plan, regardless of what you do. And then you saw profit sharing, right? So that's one thing. All right, so I'm not going to continue to go all the way through this because there's a 2023 version of this right here, but you can go back and look at this 22 version as well too. I think they took it down. It might have been a live. I clicked on videos. Let me go back and see if there is a live of this, because I'm just curious as to
a lot of people
that video.
He tries to get.
Let me see. It might have been a live. Secure Act, the IRS changes. No, 4 days ago. Yeah. No, they don't have it up here. They might took it down. It might come out tomorrow. Usually they'll take it down. They'll do it live, and then they'll take it down, and then they'll re-air it tomorrow or something like that, or early in the morning or something like that. Is that non-elective contribution tax-free to the employee? More than likely. I mean, the employer. More than likely to the employer. So how it worked for me was, let's say I'm making 100,000. I go look at my account for my 401k. They don't put a lump sum of 25,000 in. It's just 25,000 over that year. So break that down each time, and they just throw that into that particular account. Now, whether that is tax free to them, I'm not sure what the tax ramifications as the employer looks like, but for me as the employee, I didn't see any taxes that I had to claim or anything of that nature for myself. No, it was no harm to me, no harm, no foul. Right? So that was the money guy. Be on the lookout for the next new video. Let me get my laptop plugged back up here. All right. So we talked about, I don't know, do y'all want this link for retirement strategies so you can go read it yourself? Let me drop that in here. You can drop that in there. All right. Okay, so let's talk about, let's see, we did the 401k, we talked about that, and we talked about the money blogs. So now let's get into this. All right, 33 ways to make $1,000 per month. 33 ways to make $1,000 per month. This comes from Good Financial Sense. It's actually one of the blogs off of that link that I went through, right? 33 ways to make $1,000 per month, right? So let's go look and see. A recent survey by the Research Department of Statistica revealed that 34% of Americans had less than $1,000 in their savings account. One of the biggest things that Dave Ramsey talks about is having $1,000 put away for an emergency fund. Again, I'm under the mindset that you need more than that. But let's start with the basics. Let's get you some extra income. Let's utilize your skill sets and turn them to income producing assets, right? So let's get to it. This may sound disturbing, but this was actually far better than a survey CNBC reported a few years ago, with 70% of Americans had less than $1,000, right? Less than $1,000. Personally, I don't think it matters what statistical bucket you fall in to claim the following: making an extra $1,000 a month will dramatically improve your life. I know this because I personally witnessed how making an extra $100, $500, or $1,000 per month had positively impacted hundreds of families. It's why I shifted a lot of my work to helping people make extra money as a side hustle and eventually creating multiple passive income sources. The best part is there are hundreds, if not thousands, of ways to make extra money. So let's stop talking about it, Tamika, and let's get into it. Don't tell me. Let's go be about it. All right, let's go be about it. So how to make $1,000 fast online. He's got selling ebooks, freelance writing, blogging, Facebook ads for small businesses, crypto bot trading, dividend income. I talk about this often, and I actually got some stuff up here for that. Crypto savings account, real estate income, personal coaching, online communities, podcasting, YouTube, flea market flipping. Your boy does this all the time. Who drop in the chat who does flea market flipping all the time? You know who it is. It starts with a V. His last name starts with a V. His last name starts with a V. V is in Victor. Right? Flipping sports cards, selling sneakers, trading options. Yep. Gary V. Yep. Credit card rewards, which I did a video on. Congress is trying to get rid of credit card rewards. I talked about that. They're trying to cancel credit card rewards, right? Amazon FBA, become a virtual assistant, create an online course, create a digital product, become a freelancer in your area, tutorial, teach English as a second language, sign up to be an amateur sports referee, become a handyman, rent out storage space in your home, rent your driveway, rent your pool, offer your artistic talent on Gig Salad. I don't even know what Gig Salad is. First time I've ever heard of it. I don't think I like the name. Flipping websites, buy websites to generate passive income, create and sell crafts on Etsy, Get a part-time job. The rates have gone up. Drive for Uber, deliver for Uber Eats, whatever the case may be. Right? Right? Send some lunch funds. I don't have my phone in front of me. But I'll check it. I'm not sure where you sent it, but I appreciate you for sending it. My 17-year-old nephew sells Jordan sneakers. Yep. No more flyer mile rewards. Yeah, they're trying to get rid of that. Right? Again, being a coach, being an agile coach, helping people get from bad credit to good credit. There's a niche there, right? Not necessarily credit repair. Oh, but why they get they're working? There was a law to pass to get rid of. I mean, they're working on trying to get rid of it. There is a law on the table to get rid of it. I forget what the reason was. Right. All right. So let's go here. We're gonna get back to that, but let's get into these. This is only 4 minutes long. He wiped out $230,000 in debt with smart spending. This is a money watch video. A market watch video. It's only 4 minutes long. I'm gonna interrupt it, of course, but this is give you some hope and some ideas as well too. Yep, an agile coach mentioned. Yep, making 50,000 from corporate coaching. Yep. There's a loophole a few know about to exploit the credit card rewards to not pay taxes. This is why they try to get rid of. Oh, okay, gotcha. All right, so let's look at how he got rid of his $230,000 in debt. Oh, you know what? You ain't gonna be able to hear him now. Let me go get my other one so that we can hear. All right, here we go.
$238,000.
This is Ludwig. He's dancing because he loves his job. He's paid off nearly $250,000 in debt. And let's be real, he's got the moves. But no tale of triumph would be complete without a little bit of adversity. Let's take it down.
I was working a job that was immensely stressful. As a retail pharmacist, I'm even having like panic attacks, on the way to work. And it just didn't feel like a healthy work environment. And I felt like I really needed to change. There was just so much debt, I really couldn't. That was probably like one of the most powerless feelings I'd ever felt. I said, I'm never gonna feel like this again.
He listed out all of his debts, and while he was aware of his student loans, he had also accrued a lot of other expenses along the way.
I got a brand new car fresh out of school.
So a quick question, do you all have all your debts on a spreadsheet? Do you know what's going in and what's going out? What are your automatic payments or automated payments? Do you know what your upcoming expenses are going to be? Do you have your trips budgeted out and planned and so forth, right? These are all things you should be knowing, you should be doing. If not, start. Go look at a budget online. I'm sure the budget needs to have something on there to create how to create a budget. Where are you shopping at, food wise? Are you buying sales and so forth? Some of you are extreme couponists, and so you have plenty of extra stuff like a doomsday bunker. So, so some of you, I know I do, but I'm not an extreme couponist. So, all right, so let's get back to smart spending. As Dion has politely put it. Excuse me.
And then after I got promoted into a manager position, I immediately traded up to the next car. And between the student loans, the car, and a credit card, it was about $238,000.
Okay, so first our hero cut his expenses. He moved into a new apartment with roommates, and he traded in his more expensive car for a used car that he bought with cash.
A big component of your financial health is your mental health. spending in some ways was me trying to buy my happiness, and it wasn't working. A lot of your life is mundane, and there's a lot of beauty in that, in just living a simple life and being happy there. I live in an apartment that's reasonable. I don't have any car payments. So actually living within my means is pretty easy at this point, as long as I, don't try to finance anything, that I don't need. I'm not going to lie. I surf through some car websites here and there and fantasize about the next car, but I'm trying to hold on until I hit some goals.
Now, what cracked me up is they said he had roommates. I'm like, she is not a roommate. She is not a roommate, but let's go.
This is my schedule. I've been trying to plan my meals a little bit better. So it's just to keep me a little bit organized. It definitely helps in not buying too much excess groceries to help with that weekly grocery budget.
There's nothing that's left that I don't eat at the end of the week. Nothing really gets left behind. You know how people will meditate and they have that moment of inner peace? When I'm hitting my goals, that's when I have my inner peace. Budgeting was huge. It gave me a clear idea of how much money I'm spending, where that money's going, and how much money I had available to pay off my debt. I used a great website that tracks everything, something you probably don't always want to see. Doing great on personal care, like getting haircuts and stuff. With food, which is usually my main culprit, I'm going a little bit over. $3 over on my coffee budget on the month, and we're only 15 days in. It's probably pretty enlightening for anyone who doesn't really track everything that they're spending closely.
After cutting his expenses, Ludwig used the snowball method. That's where you pay off your smallest loans first.
All right, the snowball method, right? You've heard this. A lot of the FIRE people talk about it as well too, where they're paying off the small one, right? Building confidence, right? And building habits, right? Where you're paying off the small ones. Let me get to those, knock those out the way, especially the ones that got high interest rates on them as well too, right?
To an avalanche method where you're prioritizing loans that have the highest interest rate. This is going to help give you a feeling of momentum and also have some little victories along the way.
A lot of finance is not just numbers and what's mathematically the correct thing to do. You have to be emotionally invested over a long period of time to accomplish that. It's like that saying, how do you eat an elephant? It's one bite at a time. So it was just one loan at a time, one payment at a time, taking a small goal, and eventually those small goals add up to a big one.
When he was finally debt-free, Ludwig was able to quit his job and find one that he likes a lot more, at a medical marijuana dispensary.
How many opportunities do you get to be part of a brand new industry? And it's really nice to be able to choose a career that I want to do. If it's something interests me and it makes me excited, and there's an opportunity to learn and grow, it's awesome to be able to do that and not have debt be some kind of a barrier for me to make the choices that I want to make.
And that deserves a victory dance. So dance, Ludwig, dance.
All right. So that was Ludwig, right? Let's go back over here because we got more. And let me pull this one up. That's a good one, but let's go with this one. We're not going to stay long on these two videos. I just want to mention them and get them out here so you can go back and watch yourself. They're long videos, too long. It would take up our whole hour to do these videos.
Cooked at home. We shopped at,
So this one here, raised in poverty yet still reaching financial independence. And you probably can get a feel for her here. So let's go and look at the actual timestamps on these here. And we can look into Lakeisha. So her journey, her upbringing, trading in debt for her doctorate degree, budgeting and saving and investing, and then 403B and 457B, and then her side hustles, right? All right, so let's hop into her journey right here.
And you've heard that phrase, a community raising the child. And that's really what it was for me. My mom was just 17. My dad was 18. And life was really, really tough for them being so young, having children. And so I lived with different family members for a good portion of my upbringing. And what I remember about growing up in terms of money was that we valued every little thing that we had. And my mom cooked at home. We shopped at, the local grocery stores. And, it was about time with each other. And my mom always worked 2 jobs. As long as I've known her, she's worked 2 jobs. And everybody in my family has worked multiple jobs. So that's really where my story begins. Humble beginning, work ethic, and just enjoying time with family.
Where did you grow up?
Yeah, I grew up in Indianapolis, Indiana, over by the Motor Speedway, actually. If you've ever been to Indiana, the races are a big thing for us. During that time, we usually stayed.
I'm going to get to the meat and potatoes. So, let's see. Talked about her upbringing. Let's talk about trading debt and then for a doctorate. Or do we want to do budgeting, saving, and investing? Let's go see how it sounds.
Much for our world and our community. They teach all other professions. So kudos to all the teachers out there.
Yes. And if anything was going to show us that we need to pay our teachers more, it's everybody having to teach their kids this last year.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Those people need a 5X raise.
I'm in agreement with that.
So you graduate and you have $30,000 in debt and a $44,000 a year salary. How long does it take you to pay off those loans? And what year did you graduate?
I graduated in 2002.
Okay,
so
great.
it was perfect timing for technology. When I graduated high school in 98, everybody was talking about Y2K. And so that's why I chose it. I said, Y2K is coming. All the computers are going to shut down when the clock.
Oh man, that Y2K boy had everybody in a spin. Everybody was in a spin with Y2K. It says I saw the timeline for 3 and then 457B. How many different retirement plans? Well, those are probably offered from her employers. They're usually offered. Does the law limit it, or does it depend on your side? Now, those are usually probably coming from employers, like whatever job she's probably had.
Strikes January 1, 2000. Do you remember that?
Because computers can't handle going from 1999 to 2000.
Yes.
Yeah.
So in a PhD, that's kind of the exchange. You don't work, but we'll pay your tuition and expenses. You have to pay your living expenses. So I took a small amount of loans, and I was still married at that time. So my spouse at the time paid for our living expenses. And then we had to have a small buffer in there as well to just kind of get us through.
All right, let's go budgets.
And I started investing every other little piece. So I got my savings rate or investing rate to 60% of my income.
In just
all right, so she was saving 60% of her income. All right, so let's go over here and we're gonna do a calculator. And that's big enough. So let's say you do get a job at say 150. And let's multiply that by 0.7. I'm just taking out 30% of taxes. I'm over, right? And that's after tax. And let's multiply that by, well, let's do this right quick. 105, just remember that. So that's about $8,700 a month that you're getting. But she's following her method. She is saving 60% of that. And what is 60% of that? I need to do it. So about $63,000. Right? And that's divided by 12. All right, so she putting away $5,200 a month. $5,200 a month out of that $8,750. $5,250. So she living on $3,500 a month. That's tight. I figured most of you would probably need about 5,000. I figure most of you would need about 5,000 a month. And so that's going to leave you with $3,700 to invest. $3,700 to invest a month, and multiply that by 4. It's about 15,000. Ain't too bad. Your 401k is 22.5. So 22.5 divided by 12 is 2,000 a month. 2,000 a month. 1,875. 2,000. So you got to factor that into your 401k that you're putting that away every month. Right? So Evelyn, you said how many years? We about to find out.
Matter of months.
Yes.
And
a matter of months.
previously, it doesn't sound like you were saving much at all. Maybe like a few $100 a month.
I wasn't even maxing out my 401k at work at all. So that was another thing. That was like immediately. As soon as I learned about FIRE, that Monday, I called the HR department and I said, do it.
See, she's following the FIRE strategy. You can go into this about her budget and saving, her 403b. I'm not going to spend, like I said, I wasn't going to spend a whole lot of time on this one. I just wanted you to see faces of Black people, Black women, Black men who are in this movement. Oftentimes we see just white men, white women, but I want you to see a face that it's actually can be done, right? You can actually achieve. All right. So, oh yeah, we talked about her. And we didn't talk about that. All right. So this one here is a young lady that owns assisted living facilities. And so let's go here. Back it up too.
But it's been work.
There we go.
This is the Bigger Pockets Podcast Show 710.
If my goal is to keep this property forever and have it produce the max income that it can, that's first priority. It can never be to, oh, it's not working out with the city anymore, time to sell. No, I committed to this property. We are in a relationship. I said I was never letting it go. So I had to find something else. So it was the only option to me.
What's up, everyone?
So we'll pause that. When we come down here, you can see how she tripled her income, pivoting to short-term rental strategy, the regulations, the big mistake, and how she got into assisted living facilities as part of her FIRE movement. She's also part of the FIRE movement and her financial freedom. So I want to bring those 3 to you so you can see that there are people that look like you that are out there from all age ranges that are doing the FIRE method, but also saving and investing and generating income and looking for retirement, right? I can give these to Dee and she can post them for you if you're interested or whatnot. I'll just post them in the back chat. They're on the document. I don't think I shared the document though. That's my fault. Let's go here and place that there. And I guess Ludwig will get him for money market. Is it Money Watch? Market Watch. Go there. Boom. All right. So those are in the back. Dee has them. And she can post them. Okay. So that takes care of these 3 here. in here. All right, we're gonna come back because that's gonna lead into something else. All right, you all saw this, right? Tim Cook asked Apple to cut his pay after he was making nearly $100 million last year. All right, Apple CEO has 49 million target for 2023 compensation, making 99.4 million in 2022. That's almost 1,200 times the average of Apple's employee, right? Has some take my funds away, right? Last year, Cook's total compensation was 99.4 million, 3 million in salary, 83 million in stock awards, and 13.4 million in other awards. Right? Just giving you what's that, what the money is out here, what they're doing, what the CEOs are doing. All right. This was I was going to talk about this last week, but this is important. AMD launches a new AI-powered PC chip at CES. We already seen Chat GPT. We already seen AI and what it can do. Again, thinking about edge computing and what that looks like. Here we are. It's dangerous to emotionally attach yourself to an investment. Yep. So again, the microprocessor company was hurt in particular by the sharp fall off of personal computer demand. As the pandemic era surged and PC purchases faded away, the stock lost about half of its value, a decline of more than 100 billion. So people not buying no more. People not buying PCs for no more, right? They're buying laptops. Or gamers are buying that, but even some of the newer laptops are probably just can be sufficient enough for gaming, right? All right, so that's that one. I thought this was cool. No sound needed. I thought this was cool. How your kid come home from the nursery. What happened if the floor don't go back or the lid don't come up? Yeah, you don't pick your kid up from the nursery, you're just gonna deliver. What happened if the floor don't go back? Well, this is where we're at. It ain't got to the states yet, but it will be. This one right here, the Democrats released Trump's tax returns. CPAs have questions. In order to generate these kinds of losses, you need to be super rich. It's not a poor man's game. That's what they stated. I didn't dive into that article. I will, but I just wanted to share that with you. All right. And it says, is driving a big part of your business? Good news. The IRS increases tax deductible mileage rate. Here's how much you can deduct, right? So those of you that couriers or drivers or whatever, you got to do some driving. You're getting a break this year. So just want you to have that as something. All right. So we're ready for my favorite part of the show. Petty tea time. And how does Petty T want to spend her time? All right, let's go here. Let's go. You see the title. And pull it down. Petty tea time. See if y'all ready. Where my mouse at? Oh, here we go. As he reminds me, it's not his house. My boyfriend lives in my house with my two kids. but refuses to pay rent or contribute to food and utilities, what is my next move? Read it again. My boyfriend lives in my house with my 2 kids, but refuses to pay rent or contribute to food and utilities. What is my next move? Smart Money Chick TV said, put him out. Put in the chat what your thoughts are. Men, women, ladies and gents, him, they, he, her, she, them. Why is she housing him? Put him out. Put him out. I see a lot of put him out. All right, let's go. He's using my utilities, my supplies, cleaning, toilet paper, and putting wear and tear on my house. My boyfriend and I come from completely different backgrounds. I am in my mid-30s and he is 40. We both own our own homes and had a life built prior to meeting. Back. We have been together for 5 years and we have lived only at my house the last 2.5 years. My boyfriend feels that he should not have to pay me anything for living in my house as he owns his house and he is not ready to rent it out. He also feels that because I have 2 kids at home, he should not be responsible for any bills at my house. In other words, he said, if I won here, you was going to have to pay them anyway. That's what he's saying. And she's saying, well, but if you won here, I wouldn't have to pay as much. Right? He is using my utilities, my supplies, and putting wear and tear on my house by staying here 24/7. He's not interested in purchasing anything together when things break or need to be replaced because he reminds me it's not his house. Hey, he's saying like the faucet broke, you need to get it fixed. Should he be paying me at least some amount of money for slowly living together? What did Dave Ramsey call this, Dion? He's a glorified roommate. He ain't your boyfriend, he your roommate. Should we keep everything separate given that he has his own place that he is paying for but not residing in? What do you think of this inflexible stance on our financial situation? Homeowner and mother. Why did she adopt him? All right, let's go and see what the recommendation is. Dear H&M, money is not a romantic topic, but not broaching the subject is in a timely and respectful manner can kill your romance. File this under S for some people. Some people will count every bean and resist every effort to be a team player, while others will go to any lengths to help another person. Contribute to bills, carry their shopping bags up the subway stairs, helping a person who is visually impaired to cross a busy street while others stare on paralyzed by their own nerves. Given that there are 2 adults and 2 children in the household, he should at least pay a quarter of the bills, if not more. Even though he does not rent out his home and it's living empty while he spends his days and nights with you, he should consider paying at least a nominal amount of money for rent and also contribute to the family's food and utilities bill. Bottom line, 2.5 years is way too long to live with you rent and bill free. Tell him to rent out his home or go home. If he makes a profit over and above his own mortgage repayments, he should pay you something to live with you. I suggest half of the profit he makes on his home, assuming that would still be equate to a token of a small amount below the market rate rent. Then let's talk about things that could have gone wrong, but didn't. You have not commingled your finances. Check. You did not get a joint credit card or put money into a joint savings account, one in which other party could withdraw money without the other's consent. Plus, he knows the expenses involved in maintaining a home It would not hurt to remind him of that. However, there are no victims here. Managing expectations and boundaries before you jump in is important. You're both adults. Time to have that conversation about splitting bills and rent and other domestic responsibilities was in the weeks before your boyfriend moved in. Does he, for instance, leave all the housework to you? If you do, don't have a housekeeper, right? Whatever you decide, put it in writing. That way, there can be no misunderstanding. No one is twisting his arm. He pays his way, or he can move on. He can move out, or he can move on. Expecting to live with you for free without paying any expenses whatsoever is beyond the pale. More importantly, it seems unlikely that his unwillingness to contribute is isolated behavior. Fair warning, none of this bodes well for his future behavior. Your living boyfriend should have a shiny red flag pinned on his lapel, although you will probably have to pay for that too. Afri, I don't know if I want to hear his side of the story. The fact that he's there and he's not paying rent there, or he's not contributing, it leads me to think that he possibly couldn't help pay because he's paying his own way he's paying in his house. So that's what I'm thinking. It would be interesting to know his side though. But I think it's the fact that he pays at the other house is what's causing it. All right, so one more. All right. Love yourself, protect yourself. I care for my mother, who's 90, and her husband is 73. She 90 and he is 73. So there's a large age gap there, right? What's going on, Sam? You got your shirt up on Instagram yet? Sam's supposed to be giving us a shirt off on his Instagram. Ladies and gents, we're supposed to be seeing Sam with no shirt off, looking like intentional millionaire, all sunny side up, greased up, looking like fried eggs in the skillet, just bubbling. All right, so let's get back to it. Told you it's petty tea time. All right, so he contributes nothing. I work and pay all the bills. What hope do I have? Love yourself and protect yourself. I care for my mother, who is 90, and her husband is 73. He contributes nothing. I work and pay all the bills. What hope do I have? All right, let's go. I'm 65 and had a long hoped for early retirement. Yet I'm still working. I have my 90-year-old mother with no income under my care, and my 73-year-old husband who is retired. So let me back up. The daughter, I'm assuming, or child, is 65. Oh, it's probably, well, it could be a man. I don't know. 65, taking care of her mother and also her 73-year-old husband who is retired. I never see a penny of his retirement income. He used to work as a home inspector, but he stopped back working in 2018 because he couldn't pass the state test after 6 attempts. He used to help with utilities, but does so no more. I am healthy and I will keep working until the end, but I now realize that I'm using my savings up to keep up, and he's trying to find a job without any luck. I know it's my fault that all these years I allowed him to have it easy. I never demanded anything. I have no way out of this situation. We don't have kids, but he had 2 of his own before we met. I embrace them like they're mine. I guess this is my way to vent and a way to tell people: set expectations and goals. Don't settle for less, and don't pay for the love or don't pay for love or a companion. Love yourself and protect yourself. I wish I knew then what I know now. And why am I telling you this? I am embarrassed. I am embarrassed to tell this to anyone else in my life who would believe me. Is this situation hopeless? Dear feeling, never feel ashamed and try not to believe that your situation is hopeless. Your life has changed and you have found yourself in a situation where you're caring for one person, your mother, and financially supporting the other one. And she financially supporting her mom because her mom doesn't have any income either. This situation will keep evolving, but you can and should advocate for yourself. Does your mother qualify for Social Security? Your husband needs to contribute to the bills, or else what? Or else what? Or else what? Or else what? All right. So it says about that else. You don't say how long you and he have been married and whether you jointly own your property or rent. But you can also look into options you have regarding the separation. Should he continue to be unwilling to contribute anything from his retirement income or Social Security towards foods and utilities, he will likely continue to drain your savings until his hand is forced. You stepped up to help your mother. That's honorable and not uncommon. 1 in 5 people, or more than 53 million adults in the US, are unpaid family caregivers. That number it jumped to 10 million between 2015 and 2020, and 40 million people of those people are caring for an adult. You're one of them, according to the report from the AARP. The report highlights the physical and emotional and financial strain experienced by many caregivers. For caregivers, positive emotions from coexistent with feelings of isolation, stress, and strain. Half of the caregivers of adult ages 50 and older, their role as a caregiver gives them a sense of purpose or meaning of life. There are options to become a paid caregiver. You should see if any of them apply to you. Medicaid offers long term care coverage for people on low incomes. The Older Americans Act of 1965 is designed to help people age 60 and older with health issues who don't qualify for Medicaid but require financial assistance, including home delivered meals and transportation. Medicaid self directed services. In the Medicaid program, that aims to compensate family givers. It was created for people who are over 65, like yourself, who need help at home and are leading the caregiving process. These apply to people looking after parents, but most of this financial aid does not apply to husband, wives, or legal guardians. The Caregiver Alliance provides a list of self-directed programs for caregivers. Resources include government and health disability programs, legal in-home, out-of-home care, and more, right? The Elder Care Locator, part of the U.S. Administration on Aging, can also help connect you with services for older adults and families, right? And let's not know. Okay. As one person noted in the Money's Facebook page, you are a wonderful person with a big heart. One doesn't get into these situations all at once. We do one little action out of compassion and love, and over time it becomes expected of us. The other person adjusts, digs in, and your compassion becomes expected and demanded. Ultimately, you need to show compassion for yourself. When you stop blaming yourself for decisions you have made in your life, you feel stronger and more empowered to say enough. There are no free rides anymore. You have one life to live, and your husband is not going to step up unless you stand up. Put it on him on paper and in black and white. What are the comments? She should be able to get paid from IHS to help her mom, plus other government senior resources, plus local resources or local government resources, right? Tend to look locally. D and I looked this up for my mom. Local resources such as chefs, home cooked meals, somebody coming to clean, someone coming in just do a wellness check or what have you. Those are out there. People to come pick people up to take them to and from from the store or what have you, right? Yeah, her mother and husband can get home care through Medicaid waiver, just sign them up. Yeah. So I just wanted to bring a different lens, right? We saw the lady 72 riding around looking for a place to just lay her head. Then we saw the two black women that one has an assisted living builds assisted living facilities and also uses that as a stream of income. We also saw the other lady that had financial freedom. We talked about the 6 different strategies you can have for retirement. I showed you the different web blogs for financial security. I did not talk about the ETFs and the dividends that I wanted to talk about. We just didn't get time to do that today. But I did want to bring as much value to you today as I possibly could so you can have this information. We do have to stop the show. I know it's came to an end. I hope you enjoyed the intro. And also at the end of the day, don't forget to like, subscribe, share this out. Plan for your retirement now. I don't care if you are in your 20s. I don't care if you are single. I don't care if you are married. I don't care if you do have a child. Or if you're in your 30s or your 40s and your 50s. What does that look like for you? Have you thought about it? Go use the resources that are available to you. If you have a Charles Schwab account, attend their free webinars. Get a call with someone so that you can talk about finances. If you're with Edward Jones, if you're with Fidelity, if you're with Vanguard, utilize the resources that you've already signed up for. You're already in the system. Utilize the resources. Read the newspapers. Sign up for the newsletters. Become savvy about your finances and your retirement and who you enter into your life, that you let enter into your life as well too, in terms of that goal and trajectory you want to be at. All right. Until then, I'm going to catch y'all on the next show. Y'all be safe, and I'll see you later.